Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. This video is a re-evaluation of the concept as to when the day and the night begin according to the Quran. Several years ago, I posted a video titled, When Does Night Begin? And I quoted Surah 91 verses 3 and 4 to show that whenever the sun is revealed or above the horizon, it is considered daytime. And whenever the sun is covered or below the horizon, it is considered nighttime. And this understanding is reflected in this video, the videos that I posted about the Salah session timings with this diagram, showing that whenever the sun is above the horizon, it's considered daytime, and that whenever the sun is below the horizon, it is considered nighttime. This was my understanding until I reread Surah 91 verses 3 and 4 again and realized that I've actually made a mistake. Therefore, this video is going to supersede the information provided in the video that I posted several years ago. So, let's begin. The first thing we want to do is ask the question, is the dawn part of the day or part of the night? Is the evening part of the day or part of the night? And as we can see from this old diagram, dawn and evening are actually part of the night. Okay? So again, we're going to reevaluate this. Let's begin with Surah 2, verse 187. God speaks of Laylat al-Siyam, night of the Siyam. And he says, during this night of the Siyam, you may consume and absorb until dawn. Then he says, then you shall complete the Siyam until night. So here God distinguishes between dawn and night, which indicates that dawn is not part of the night as I have previously thought. Dawn marks the beginning of the day. Otherwise, if dawn was part of the night, God would not have used the term night here. But he says dawn and he makes a distinction between dawn and night. Dawn is part of the day. It marks the beginning of the day as the daylight starts to creep into the sky. Now we go to Surah 36, verse 37. We're going to see, when does night begin? God says, and a sign for them is the night. We strip the daylight from it, whereupon they are in darkness. Now, at first glance, some people might say that means that night is when it's completely dark outside. However, we need to pay attention to this middle phrase here. He says, we strip the daylight from it. نَسْلَخُ مِنْهُ النَّهَارِ. The Arabic word نَسْلَخُ, we strip, means there is a continuous motion of something, a slow, gradual, continuous motion of something. So God says, we strip the daylight from it. So whenever we start seeing that the daylight is being stripped from the sky, this marks the beginning of the night. And this happens the moment the sun starts setting into the horizon. When the sun starts setting into the horizon, that daylight begins to strip away from the sky. So technically speaking, night begins when the sun starts to set into the horizon. That's the beginning of the night. So far we have seen that day begins at dawn, and night begins at sunset. Now, some people might be asking, well, does this mean that not all parts of the night are dark? This is true. Not all parts of the night are dark based off of this verse. We can also see, like in Surah 17, verse 36, God uses the phrase غَسَقْ اللَّيْلِ, murkiness of the night. The Arabic word غَسَق means a thing that reaches its brim. Okay? A thing that reaches its brim, meaning that some parts of the night are not completely dark, okay? Which means, in fact, that as the sun starts to set, the daylight starts to strip, this is technically the night, even though it's not completely dark outside. Now, let me address Surah 91, verses 3 and 4. And as I noted, I used to think that when I would read this verse, it means that whenever the sun is revealed or above the horizon, it's considered daytime. And whenever the sun is below the horizon or covered, it is nighttime. That was the old understanding. However, God says here, okay, let's begin with the beginning of the surah. By the sun and its brightness, the moon that comes after it, the day when it reveals it, the night when it covers it. God says the day when it reveals it. I used to think that this means that whenever the sun is revealed, it's daytime. However, this is not what the verse says. The verse says the day when it reveals it. He does not say the sun when it reveals the day, but the day when it reveals the sun. If you cannot catch the difference here, the difference is that the day has already begun even before the sun is revealed. The day when it reveals the sun, and likewise the night when it covers the sun. This means the day has already started before the sun actually was revealed, which is at dawn. Likewise, the night actually began before the sun is being covered. This means that the night began once the sun starts to set into the horizon, where the daylight is being stripped from the sky. This is how the day and the night begin according to the Quran. Now the question is, let's go to our old diagram that I showed in my videos about the Salah session timings. This is the old diagram that we have seen. The first end of the day is when the sun starts to rise, and the second end of the day is when the sun starts to set. The only difference here with this understanding is that the first end of the day actually begins at dawn. This is the only difference. The second end of the day, yes, the sun starts dipping into the horizon. Yes, this marks the ending of the day. Whereas the beginning of the day begins at dawn, when the daylight starts to come in, when it starts to proceed into the sky at dawn. Does this in any way impact the Salah session timings? The answer is no, of course not. It actually confirms what is being said here. Let's really quick evaluate 11.1.14.1778 regarding the Salah session timings. 11.1.14, God says 2 ends of the day and the nearing parts from the night. We have the first end, which marks the beginning of dawn, and the nearing parts from the night is the dawn duration of the dawn. The second end is the moment the sun starts hitting that horizon, and the nearing parts from the night is the evening duration. No contradiction. In 1778, God says, uphold the Salah at the declining of the sun to the darkness of the night, and the Quran at dawn. And again, no contradictions whatsoever here. So again, the only difference is that the marking of this first end is actually down here, not up here, down here. So this is the understanding that I have regarding when day and night, and in fact, this understanding is well known in traditional Islam. There are some scholars who differ. However, the vast majority of understanding in traditional Islam is that this is how the day and the night begin according to the Quran. Now, with all this being said, I'm going to give out a huge caveat and say that, you know, whether you believe the ends of the day are here or here, whatever it may be, it's okay. God is not severely nitpicky when it comes to these things. Remember, the Salah sessions was oriented to the Prophet Muhammad at his time, and people at that time were to attend at the dawn and the evening timing sessions, just as a mere yardstick, really, for people to go before work and after work, during these times. And so it's not something severely nitpicky. You're not. So I know there are people who are very nitpicky about these things, but for me, it's just a general idea as to when the Salah sessions were happening during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Wassalamu alaikum.